It's a warm evening in late spring, and I'm sitting on the porch of the house I once thought would be our forever home. My name is irrelevant. It's my story that matters. I'm 38 years old, married for 15 years, and until recently, I thought I had it all. But as it turns out, life has a way of pulling the rug out from under you when you least expect it. I met her when I was 23. She was everything I thought I wanted: smart, beautiful, ambitious. We built a life together from scratch, moved across the country to this quaint little town in Vermont, bought this house, and started what I believed to be a perfect marriage. We didn't have kids. We both agreed early on that we wanted to focus on our careers and each other. It seemed like a good plan at the time. About 6 months ago, I started noticing subtle changes. She'd come home later and later, always with some plausible excuse. Work meetings, girls' nights, gym sessions, none of it sounded particularly suspicious on its own. But the frequency and her increasingly distant demeanor made my gut churn with a sense of unease. One night, curiosity got the better of me. She was in the shower, her phone buzzing on the nightstand. Normally, I'd respect her privacy, but something pushed me to look. A message flashed on the screen. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Last night was amazing. M." My blood ran cold. I felt like I was in a bad movie, heart pounding, hands shaking. I didn't confront her right away. I needed proof. Over the next few weeks, I played the role of the unsuspecting husband while quietly gathering evidence. I hired a private investigator, and what he found confirmed my worst fears. She was having an affair with a colleague from work, a man named Mark. They'd been seeing each other for months, meeting in cheap motels and restaurants far from town to avoid detection. I was livid, heartbroken, but also strangely numb. I couldn't believe this was happening to me. One night, while she was out working late, I went to the bar down the street. It was a dingy place. Not the sort you'd expect to find in a picturesque town like ours. I sat at the bar, ordered a whiskey, and tried to drown my sorrows. That's where I met Jack, a burly man in his 40s who seemed to sense my despair. We talked for hours, and I found myself spilling my guts to this stranger. Jack was a retired cop, and he offered to help me get more dirt on my wife and her lover. He taught me how to set up hidden cameras, bug her car, and even how to tail them without being noticed. I felt a strange thrill, like I was part of some undercover operation. Then came the night I snapped. I followed her to a motel, watched them go inside. Rage boiled within me as I waited, watching the minutes tick by. When they finally emerged, laughing and holding hands, I saw red. I stormed out of my car, confronted them in the parking lot. I don't remember much of what I said, but I remember the look of shock and fear on her face, and the smug, mocking expression on his. In a fit of rage, I lunged at Mark, fists flying. We grappled, a chaotic flurry of punches and kicks. She screamed for us to stop, but it only fueled my anger. It ended when I felt a sharp pain in my side and realized he had pulled a knife. I stumbled back, clutching my side, blood seeping through my fingers. The police arrived shortly after, called by some concerned guest. They pulled us apart, took statements, and I ended up in the hospital with a minor stab wound. Mark was arrested for assault, but my wife's betrayal was already a wound far deeper than the physical one. After that night, our marriage was effectively over. We lived in the same house, but she stayed in the guest room, and we barely spoke. I filed for divorce, and she didn't contest it. The proceedings were swift and merciless, much like the end of our relationship. Now, I find solace in the bottom of a bottle. I spend my nights in that same dingy bar, drinking until the pain fades into a dull ache. Jack's there most nights, a silent companion in my misery. We don't talk much anymore. He knows there's nothing left to say. One night, as I stare into my glass, I realize this isn't living. It's a slow, self-inflicted death. But it's all I have left. The house, the life, the dreams we built together. They're all gone, crumbled to dust. I'm a broken man, haunted by what was and what could have been. And so, I drink, hoping one day the numbness will finally consume me completely. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months. The routine is the same. Wake up, go to work, pretend everything is fine, come home, drink until I pass out. The town feels smaller, more suffocating. I see her sometimes, at the grocery store or driving past me in her car. She looks happier, freer. It eats at me, gnaws at the remnants of my pride and self-worth. Dear viewers, more than 90% watch my content without subscribing. If you still have not subscribed, then I ask you to do so. For me, this is the best motivation to continue. Work is the only thing that keeps me from falling apart completely. I bury myself in it, taking on extra projects, working late into the night. My colleagues notice the change, offer sympathetic looks and empty words of comfort. They don't understand, can't understand. The betrayal runs too deep, the wound too raw. One evening, as I'm leaving the office, I get a call from Jack. He asks if I want to join him for a drink. It's not unusual, but there's something in his voice that makes me agree. We meet at our usual bar, the familiar haze of smoke and the clinking of glasses a strange comfort. Jack gets straight to the point. "There's something you need to see," he says, sliding a folder across the table. I open it, my heart sinking as I recognize the contents. Photos of my ex-wife and Mark, but these aren't the usual clandestine shots. They're in an office, meeting with men in suits, exchanging envelopes. "What is this?" I ask, my voice barely a whisper. "Evidence," Jack says. "I've been keeping an eye on them. Turns out they're involved in some shady dealings, money laundering, maybe more. I thought you should know." Anger flares within me. It's not enough that she destroyed our marriage. She's involved in criminal activities, dragging my name through the mud by association. I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm raging inside me. "Why are you telling me this?" I ask. "Because you deserve justice," Jack replies, "and maybe a chance to get back at them." The idea of revenge is tempting, intoxicating even. But as I sit there, staring at the photos, I realize something. I don't want to be consumed by hatred and anger. I want my life back, my sanity. And maybe, just maybe, I want to see her face justice. The next few weeks are a whirlwind. Jack and I gather more evidence, documenting their illegal activities. I approach a friend in the police department, handing over everything we have. An investigation is launched, and it's not long before the walls start closing in on them. One night, I'm at the bar, nursing a drink, when my phone buzzes. It's a message from Jack. "It's happening, turn on the news." I signal to the bartender to turn up the TV, and there it is, a live broadcast of a police raid at Mark's office. They're led out in handcuffs, my ex-wife's face a mask of shock and fear. I should feel triumphant, but instead, there's a hollow emptiness. Revenge doesn't bring the satisfaction I thought it would. It doesn't fix the broken pieces of my life. The trial is swift. With the mountain of evidence against them, they both receive hefty sentences. It's all over the news, the scandal rocking our small town. I'm approached by reporters, but I decline to comment. I've had enough of being in the spotlight. The divorce is finalized shortly after the trial. She signs the papers without a fight, her once fiery spirit now dulled by the reality of her situation. As I walk out of the courthouse, there's a sense of finality. This chapter of my life is over. I don't know what the future holds. The house feels emptier than ever, filled with memories I can't escape. I still go to the bar, still find solace in the bottom of a glass, but there's a glimmer of hope, a faint light at the end of this dark tunnel. One night as I sit at the bar, I make a decision. It's time to move on. I put the house up for sale, pack my belongings, and leave town. It's a fresh start, a chance to rebuild my life. I find a small apartment in a new city, far from the ghosts of my past. I still drink, but less. I start seeing a therapist, confronting the pain and anger I've buried for so long. It's a slow process, but I'm healing, little by little. I get a new job, make new friends. Life isn't perfect, but it's better. And one day, as I'm sitting on the porch of my new home, watching the sunset, I realize something. I'm not defined by my past, by the betrayal and the pain. I'm stronger than that. I'm a survivor. And so, I continue my journey, one day at a time. The scars will always be there, a reminder of what I've been through. But they don't define me. I'm free, and for the first time in a long time, I feel at peace. Dear viewers, I ask you to subscribe to the channel under this video. I will be very grateful to you. As time goes on, the memories of my past life start to fade. I throw myself into my new job, finding satisfaction in the work. It's a small publishing company, and I enjoy the creative atmosphere. My colleagues are friendly, and for the first time in years, I feel a sense of belonging. I still visit the bar occasionally, but it's not the crutch it once was. I've learned to find solace in other things: reading, hiking, even cooking. It's strange how these simple activities bring a sense of calm I never knew I needed. My therapist helps me navigate the complicated emotions that still linger. The anger, the sadness, the betrayal. They're all part of my journey, but they no longer define me. I learned to forgive, not for her sake, but for mine. Holding on to the past only weighs me down, and I want to move forward. One day I receive a letter from an old friend back in Vermont. It's an invitation to a reunion, a chance to catch up with people I haven't seen in years. At first, I'm hesitant. The thought of returning to the place where everything fell apart fills me with dread. But then I realize it's an opportunity for closure, a chance to lay old ghosts to rest. The trip back to Vermont is surreal. The town looks the same, but it feels different, smaller somehow. I drive past the house we once shared, now occupied by a new family. It's a strange feeling, seeing someone else's life unfold where mine once did. But it's also freeing, a reminder that life goes on. The reunion is held at a local park. Faces from the past greet me with warm smiles and hearty handshakes. There's laughter, stories of old times, and for a moment I forget the pain that once consumed me. It's good to reconnect, to see that despite everything, there are still people who care. As the evening winds down, I find myself talking to an old friend, Sarah. We've known each other since college, but lost touch over the years. We talk for hours, reminiscing about the past, sharing our present lives. There's an easy comfort in her presence, a connection I didn't expect. Sarah and I keep in touch after the reunion. What starts as occasional phone calls and texts soon becomes something more. We visit each other, spend weekends exploring new places, rediscovering old passions. It's not love, not yet, but it's something real, something good. Through it all, I continue my therapy, continue my journey of healing. I learn to accept the past, to understand that it shaped me, but it doesn't define me. The scars are there, but they're a testament to my strength, my resilience. One evening, Sarah and I are sitting on the porch of my new home, much like I did all those months ago. The sun is setting, casting a warm glow over the landscape. We sit in comfortable silence, watching the world go by. I never thought I'd find peace again, I say, breaking the silence. Sarah smiles, her hand finding mine. You deserve it, she replies. You've come a long way. And I have. The journey was long, the road filled with pain and heartache, but I made it. I'm stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever comes next. The past is a part of me, but it no longer controls me. I'm free to live my life, to find happiness on my own terms. As the sun dips below the horizon, I feel a sense of calm, a peace I've never known. The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, I'm okay with that. I have my health, my friends, and a new chapter waiting to be written, and I know whatever happens, I'll face it head on, with the strength and resilience I've gained. But life, as I've learned, has a way of testing you just when you think you're on solid ground again. One evening, as I'm preparing dinner, my phone buzzes with an unknown number. I hesitate, but pick up. It's the police. They need to talk to me about something urgent. I meet with them the next day, a knot of anxiety tightening in my stomach. They inform me that Mark, my ex-wife's lover, has been found dead in his cell. Suicide, they say. But there's more. They found a letter, a confession implicating her in more crimes than we had evidence for, and a twisted declaration of love. The news hits me like a sledgehammer. Just when I thought I'd left all of it behind, it pulls me back in. I find myself at a crossroads once again. I can either get involved, help the police unravel more of her deceit, or walk away, truly leaving the past behind. After much contemplation, I choose the latter. I inform the police that I've said all I needed to say, provided all the evidence I had. I can't let myself be dragged back into that dark place. I need to keep moving forward, for my own sanity. Sarah supports my decision. She's been a rock through all of this, and our bond strengthens. We take a trip together, a road trip across the country. It's liberating, seeing new places, meeting new people, and just being free. I find joy in the simple things, in the laughter we share, in the quiet moments of reflection. As we drive through the vast landscapes, I feel a sense of rebirth. The open road symbolizes the endless possibilities ahead. For the first time in a long time, I look forward to the future with genuine excitement. We return home, our spirits lifted. I dive back into work with renewed vigor, and Sarah and I grow closer. We decide to move in together, taking things slow but steady. Life starts to feel normal, even happy. One night, while sitting on our porch, Sarah turns to me. "Have you ever thought about writing a book?" she asks. The idea intrigues me. I've always been a storyteller at heart, and my experiences, though painful, are rich with lessons and emotions that others might relate to. I start writing, pouring my heart into the pages. It's therapeutic, a way to process everything I've been through. Months pass, and the book takes shape. I share it with a few close friends, their positive feedback encouraging me to pursue publishing. My story, once a source of pain, becomes a beacon of hope for others. The book gets published, and to my surprise, it finds an audience. Readers reach out, sharing their own stories of betrayal and healing. It's humbling and fulfilling, knowing that my journey can inspire others. I realize that I'm not alone, that many have walked similar paths and found their way out of the darkness. Sarah and I celebrate the book's success, our bond stronger than ever. We talk about the future, about building a life together. The scars of the past remain, but they're no longer painful. They're reminders of how far I've come, of the strength I've found within myself. One evening, as we sit on the porch, Sarah turns to me with a smile. "You know," she says, "I think you finally found your peace." And she's right. The journey was long and arduous, but I made it. I'm no longer defined by my past, but by the resilience and hope that carried me through. Life is a series of ups and downs, but I've learned to navigate it with grace and strength. As the sun sets, casting a warm glow over the landscape, I feel a profound sense of contentment. The future is still uncertain, but I'm ready for whatever comes next. With Sarah by my side and the strength I've gained, I know I can face anything. Here's to new beginnings, to the journey ahead, and to the peace I've finally found.